Hey, welcome back to the Frank Driscoll Show. This one's going to be based on a comment that I got from Mark that said, "When is the best time to prospect?" I thought, what a great question, right? And this is something that I've tried at all different times, and of course, you can have success at any time. Always is the right answer. But if I were to say optimally, it's 100% in the mornings. So when I first started, I would just do it all day long, and what would happen is that I would suddenly start getting success, getting people saying yes, and then I would just kind of do it whenever they wanted. So if they wanted to show homes, well, a lot of times I would be in the mornings, and then all of a sudden I wasn't prospecting. And then what would happen is my pipeline would kind of get messed up because I'm showing them around, I'm not calling, I'm getting busy. It's kind of like going to the gym. If you set going to the gym at the beginning part of the morning, like to start off your day, you always get it done. If you put it for the evenings, at least for me, I found that things always come up. Sometimes I get there, sometimes I don't. So optimally, what I have found is you just prospect from 8 to 12. That is the most important time. Set up your appointments in the afternoon. And if you're not able to achieve them, then you can continue on in prospect, or you can do other things if it fits, right? Filming, creating content, those kind of things, follow up, whatever that is. But just set it for 8 to 12. And that would be the absolute best times. I don't care in any kind of sales, obviously in real estate. But if even if it's getting guests on your show for podcasting and things like that, set up that time. That way your pipeline is going to continue. You're going to get it done. I would try for optimally about 25 conversations would be really great high goal if you're having that, whether it's in real estate or any of the sales that you're working on. Uh, I would say at a minimum 20 if you're not going for that and you don't have a lot of appointments that you're going to be shooting for that. But remember, we can start with one. So if all you can give right now, and I'm going to meet you where you're able to give, is I can only make one call. Okay, do that every day for a week. Then let's build it up next week. Let's go to two calls. And let's just keep building on what you're able to do. You don't have to be there and call, from wire to wire all day long doing it, right? Some people, you're just not going to have the endurance to strength, the stamina, or know what to do. But I'm going to give you some real world examples of how this has impacted people, at least that I've coached. So the first person was my first client, my first paid client. The previous month, he had done two transactions. And I said, hey, no problem. We're going to coach every day. You give me the objections, I'll overcome them. And we're just going to continue to do this until you get better and better and better. Well, by the end of the day, we were coaching every day. He went from two closings to the next month, we went to eight, right? So we were able to get Sphere, get all of the different leads that he was following up and calling. By calling every day in the morning, really we were calling from right about like 8 to 12, and he was going on the appointments on the later part of the day, and then we kind of mixed coaching in about noon. It really increased his business drastically, right? From he just hadn't done it like this. He done it sporadically, but the consistency from it just built very quickly. Next coaching client success I had was another person I coached for about a year, and he was same thing, everyday coaching, and he wanted to become, how I was at calling. He had heard a few of my calls and said, well, I want to be like you. I said, okay, then let's do what I do. So he would call every day, and after a while, he got really good at calling. Well, we would have calling our coaching sessions every day, but in the afternoon, and he would text me, "Hey, I got a listing appointment. We're gonna just let's do it tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay." It was kind of funny, but by the end of the year, I was so used to him having an appointment, not being able to do our session, that it was almost like a running joke, like, "Hey, well, I'll get you tomorrow," and he just was always busy with appointments, which was great, right? And I think he went from about 150,000 to 350,000 after our first year of coaching. So incredibly success because of getting better and better. And that's another element when you're doing this every day, all the time. I would write down all the objections that I would get, and I would practice, and I try to figure out what are two or three different objections that I could use to handle it, or which ones were working the best, or which ones didn't. And it gets you really proficient at that and comfortable. In fact, you start. Um, I think when you get to be really good caller or really good at having these kind of real estate conversations or getting guests on or sales, you start to anticipate like what they're going to say. I'm just waiting. I'm hearing, waiting for the timing, listening, right? Trying to see how I can help them, and then I'm inserting, the comment like, "Oh, that's really good," and then they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so good at this." It's not that I'm so good at this. I've just failed more times than you guys have, right? I probably failed 10,000 times at this, right? So, but you get better over and over with the repetition. So I would say, at least from some takeaways. And of course, at any time, guys, you can get in my mastermind group. If there's a link below, you can join my free coaching. And then if you really feel like, okay, I know I want to do this. I want accountability, right? Frank, help me. Just join my page. It's so cheap now. Okay, it's ridiculously low. Get in there and follow the link and get in there, and I'll have every day that you'll have accountability, and we just start with something small and build up. But my whole point was I got really good just failing over and over again. And I thought, you know what? I'll just make calls, and I know I'm not going to get everyone, and I'm just going to have those conversation chances. Now, here is the crazy part. And this usually happened to me like 1 in 100. I would just get someone that would say yes. I would ask them no matter what it was almost. I would ask them, I do my thing, write my little script or whatever I'm going to say to them. And they'd be like, sure, okay. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. They would just say yes. I'd go over on the appointment or on the phone or on Zoom or whatever it was, and they'd be like, okay, sure. Sign me up, I'll do it. Or yeah, I'll list with you or whatever it was. Okay. So if we're not making the calls, we're not getting the easy ones. Okay, we're not getting the simple ones. We're always having to work for the hardest ones. But if you do enough, then you're going to suddenly get some. It's just like me asking for referrals. I'm like, hey, do you know anyone? They're like, yeah, I do. Right? I used to always ask that on everyone, whether it's wrong number or not. I've got many deals or appointments or success of asking them if they knew anyone, if they're not the right fit, if they knew anyone that was, or they knew anyone was looking to sell, or anyone looking to come in and live in the neighborhood, or whatever the case. They knew someone that was it thought would be a good fit for the group, for coaching, for whatever. You're missing the easy ones because once you get enough volume, those come too, right? Now, here's the other thing. I see this all the time with agents. They have these monster months, right? Boom, just a record-breaking months. 2 to 3, 4 months later, they're panic mode. We've all been there, right? We're like, oh my gosh, right? It's like it reminds me of when I was in college and there was one test because I had not studied, no excuses, it was on me, and I think I got like a lower grade than I wanted. I still did pretty well, but I was like, never again. I'm never not gonna like be prepared if I fail, whatever. But I'm gonna actually give it all to do my best effort. So if I don't know it, it's on me. I don't want to know it that I just wasn't prepared. And that's the kind of same feeling you get if you haven't been going all out and haven't been giving your best. Okay, it's a horrible feeling because we know we can do better, right? And what would happen going back? Well, now their pipeline's busted. They don't have any deals coming in. They're reaching out to me for help. I'm saying, all right, well, what did you do 90 days ago? I didn't do anything. What did you do 60? Nothing. 30? I got a little nervous, so I did some open houses. Okay. Well, we weren't going all out after it, right? So let's build up our strength, our mental strength, our habits, so that we can absolutely conquer this. In fact, it gets so easy. I'm going to tell you another story that my wife will probably hate. But I used to call every morning, like at 7:50, I'd prep, and I had to call from my bedroom. I didn't have my office like this now, and I would kick her out. And she's like, "Why do I have to go out?" I'm like, "I don't call as well with you in the room. That's just the truth. I'm not as comfortable." She's like, "Fine, just go and lay out go work out or go on our couch or whatever." And I'd be calling for hours, right? After a while, I would just do this. Okay, even when we're on vacation in like Mexico, I'd be on the phone making my calls at the time, right? Because I didn't want to miss. And people are like, you're not on vacation calling. I go, look, I go, do you have FaceTime? I'd show the beach and they're like, you're on the beach calling, dude. What are you doing? I feel like I'm dedicated. The truth is, it was such a habit. They'd be like, all right, I believe you, set it up. No, anyone who's calling from like such a beautiful place, well, dude, of course I'm going to go with you. You're dedicated. I know you're going to get it done. right? So I got probably the most appointments I ever got from that, right? Just because they couldn't believe it. They'd hear the ocean waves and they said, let me see it, right? And it just worked really well. But it was really because of the habit. Right? It was a habit of calling, of doing something every day and giving it your all, really trying to be your best. So as you do those, we're going to start right now. We're going to start filling up, right, that sales pipeline. We're going to start filling up with opportunities. Build it up to what you can do. Strive for 20 to 25 conversations a day. It's life changing. I have never seen anyone going all out for 100 days that haven't hasn't made 100 contacts and get like 10 to 20 conversations a day that doesn't have something to show for it at the end. Right? Your skills are going to improve. You're going to get chances. You're going to get those easy ones that I talked about, but you're also going to be starting to get better at converting the harder ones. Right? Like when I was calling, I always liked the harder ones because then I knew it was just going to be me on the appointment, right? Or the person I work with, rather than easy one where everyone's doing it too, right? So I started to gravitate towards those, and I started to get really good at it because I was just doing it daily. And then the fear, I wasn't afraid. In fact, I already knew. I knew if the conversation went 5 minutes, I would just automatically have an appointment. Like I already knew that. So my goal was, okay, let's just do everything I can to keep the conversation going, be listening, be answering the questions. I already have all the rebuttals. I'm going to get my opportunities, right? So hopefully this helps. I want this to take away from you where you know that you can do this. Okay, please like, subscribe, all of that, comment, because I'm going to take other comments and questions from it and keep building on this as we get the best guests I absolutely can. So put the guests you want down here. And here's the other thing. When I switch or upgrade YouTube channels, I'm just going with someone that either gives me more value, entertains me, is something that directly appeals to me, or I like the person, right? I'm going to be going all out and working really, really hard to do those things for you. So I appreciate it. I will be putting content regularly each week, and I'm going to improve myself. These are my reps I'm getting in as well. So take action. Comment if you're going to take action below, even if it's just one more call that you're going to do. That's fine. We always have to start somewhere. But hopefully this made a difference. If it did, comment below. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to be bringing it. I'm going to be delivering. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day. Talk to you soon. Take care.